Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, Ghana bags $540 million from petroleum revenue within 6 months, according to the latest report by the Public Interest and Accountability Committee.
And depends on the revenue from the oil production. You can't say that what I have planned is what I have to get. So they've planned 380 for the two projects.
Also coming up, as government completes work on reviewing its social intervention programs as a means of cutting down on expenditure, we examine what the implications will be for especially the poor.
These were all boxes that we had to tick. So about 17, I believe, such programs were looked at, and therefore I will incorporate them into the budget this year.
Also this afternoon, Ghana has witnessed growing interest in commodities related to video gaming. But what is the true value of this activity in Ghana's creative space? We'll discuss on our show business segment. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for being with us. Details coming up. And thanks for staying with us, everyone. First, updated from the Public Interest and Accountability Committee's 2023 semi-annual report on management and use of petroleum revenues indicates that Ghana's total petroleum revenue was $540 million. The report covers the period between January and June 2023. According to PIAC, over $466 million out of the $540 million of the petroleum revenue was allocated to priority areas including agriculture, roads, as well as other critical infrastructure. Here's Chairman of PIAC, Professor Kwame Adumfrimpong.
If you have your resources, there's even no need to plan any amount. You just spend it. But because resources are limited and depends on the revenue from the oil production, you can't say that what I have planned is what I have to get. So they've planned 380 for the two projects, but as at 30th June, due to circumstances beyond control, you all know what is going on in the country. All the plans are being put aside, and then reality is coming out. 380, even though that's the plan, 41 has been given to them. And that will tell you that there are other pressures from other sources where it's pushing things down. So nobody knows. This is the plan for 5 years. Who knows? But next year things will improve, and what they are expecting or their plan will be given to them.
Meantime, the Public Interest and Accountability Committee is asking the Finance Ministry to comply with the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. The authority is asking the Ministry of Finance to release funds to the National Oil Company no later than 3 working days after the receipt of petroleum revenue into the Petroleum Holding Fund. This was revealed in its semi-annual report. Here's James Ishen with more.
PIAC said it has observed that Cosmos Energy Ghana Limited wrongfully paid withholding tax into the Petroleum Holding Fund in 2020 and 2021, totaling $3 million. The committee also maintained that the Jubilee Oil Holding Limited have failed to pay proceeds from liftings in the first half of the year into the Public Holding Fund. PIAC said this is the 4th consecutive time the Jubilee Oil Holding Limited have failed to pay proceeds from the Jubilee, and the 10 failed, totaling $343 million. The report furthered that the total number of existing petroleum agreements has reduced from 14 to 13 as at the end of June 2023 to the relinquishment of AGM Petroleum's entire interest in the South Deepwater of Tano contract area. About 6.73% of the total 131 million cedis of the annual budgeting funding amount was transferred to the District Assembly Common Fund in the first half of 2023. The semi-annual report also suggested that the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund plans to invest $380 million in the Kwawu multi-purpose dam over the period of 2023 to 2025. Out of this, a little over $41 million was disbursed to the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund for the Special Investment Vehicle Viability Gap for the Tema Motorway Extension Project from January to June 2023. On some recommendation, Piak said in approving appropriation, Parliament should take into consideration Regulation 8 of LI 2381 with regards to the cap on the Ghana Stabilization Fund. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
All right, let's move on to some other stories. Government, with the help of the World Bank, has completed work on the rationalization of some social intervention programs like the free SHS. Some of the initiatives have come under scrutiny by the country's development partners following concerns of rising expenditure. This could see some of the programs reviewed in relation to funding. Here's Finance Minister Ken Ofriatta speaking on PM Express Business Edition.
No, we did a lot of work on that, and I think one of the auditing firms, and those were part of the structural benchmarks that were needed for this approval, the SLA that we received. Also for the DPO from the World Bank, which will be about $300 to $500 million also in December. These were all boxes that we had to tick. So about 17, I believe, such programs were looked at, and therefore will incorporate them into the budget this year.
Little Bear told me that the bank in principle has approved some $300 million to Ghana under the budget support program. Should be coming in December. Again, what do you make of this development?
Well, George continues to go to say where we are as a country and the favor we have found and the hard work that we have done. Not only is the DPO going to lead to the releasing of $300 million, but also the Ghana Financial Stabilization Fund will also result in another $250 million so that we can make sure that the banks are strong, solvent, and also liquid.
All right, let's get some more analysis on this. Joining us on Zoom is economist Dr. Patrick Esumi. Good afternoon to you, sir. Good to see you. Is it appropriate that government is reviewing or rationalizing these social intervention programs targeted at the poor, or is it the case that they don't have a choice?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to viewers. Thanks for having me. I think it's definitely worth reviewing any new programs that government implements to see what is working and what is not working. And if you take the case of the flagship program that this government has brought, I think it's important that we do an assessment to see where it has worked and what we can do to improve it. Now, what we have to understand is if our goal is to reduce expenditures, if you look at all those social intervention, the flagship program that we can call social intervention, take the free SHS, if you take LEAP, if you take school feeding, if you take all of them, they are less than 5 billion. That's a very small fraction of our expenditure for this year. So if our goal is to make savings, as far as the program is concerned, that's not what we should be. That's not where we should be looking at.
And if you can still hear me, there are some who fear that undertaking such an exercise may impact the poor. Is that a real cause for concern?
So I think it depends on what we do with the so-called rationalization. You can clearly see a case where we decide to retweak how those programs are working to target the poor a lot more. Some have made argument, if you take free SHS for instance, that we could make more savings by changing how it's run so that we could help the poor a lot more. So those arguments are there. But at the same time, so it's important, let's wait and see what specific aspect of the rationalization that has been done, then we'll be able to see. But like I was making the point, if we want to make expenditure cuts, that is not where we should be looking at. We should be looking at the expenditures outside of appropriation, the unplanned spending that happens every year in our budget. And there are many other things that we should be looking at, and not the small allocation that we've made to help the poor.
All right, like you point out, we wait to see what the rationalization will look like, because there are some people who hold the view that the rich in society should be made to pay for free SHS, as is being advocated by people. But I want to shift the conversation, talk about another issue that the finance minister announced, that he and the governor of the Bank of Ghana will personally sit on the board of COCOBOD to check its expenditure. Do you think this is necessary?
It is necessary to make some reforms at the COCOBOD. I think we've been running the COCOBOD has been running into problems for a while now, and we need to check. I'm not sure whether the finance minister and the BoG governor sitting there will be enough. There might be some structural problems that we have to fix, and we should be thinking beyond just checking the expenditure, to thinking more broadly about how we can make the cocoa sector contribute more to our economy. The several years of doing syndicated loan, and given all the surpluses we generate from cocoa, by now you would have expected that maybe we will not be doing the syndicated loan again. We will have the financial muscle to be buying the cocoa, and so that we are not paying all the interest and other things that we pay, because that means more of the revenue generated from cocoa being paid to others. So I think, for me, it doesn't look like it's just enough to say that the finance minister and the BoG governor will sit on the board. I think we need to look beyond that.
Okay, and my final question, to the extent that the finance minister and the Bank of Ghana governor are going to be sitting on the board, should COCOBOD be moved back to the Ministry of Finance rather than the Ministry of Agric, do you think?
For me, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Wherever it sits, we have to have proper structures for control, or proper structures for controlling some of the excesses that we see there. Sometimes where it sits depends on the focus of government and how we see what it does. So if we feel that, I think at the moment, there's a sense that it's a big part of agricultural development, so we keep it at the COCOBOD. We do keep it under the Ministry of Agriculture. But if you begin to see it as either a revenue leak or a source of making additional expenditure leak, or a source of making additional revenue, we might decide that we will move it. For me, that's not the most important thing. Where it sits is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that wherever it is, we have to put in measures to ensure that the losses that we see there, and then the perceived mismanagement that industry players have about the cocoa funds, we should put in specific measures to seal those holes and to make sure that proper corporate governance structures are put in place to ensure that the place is managed properly.
Thank you much for your perspective this afternoon, Dr. Patrick Esuminthe, an economist, joining us on Zoom. Let's bring you some more stories. The Director General of SNIT, Dr. John Ofori-Tinkwang, says the informal sector contributes to the pension scheme, or the informal sector's contribution to the pension scheme has seen an improvement within the last year through continuous education. Speaking at an engagement with informal workers in Sunyane, Dr. Ofori-Tinkwang urged self-employed persons to show more interest in their social security and take bold steps to enroll into the scheme to safeguard their future. Here's Precious Semevo with more.
The Senate TUC Bono Regional Forum for the Informal Economy Operators aims at ensuring every worker enjoys social security. Despite the misconceptions and lack of information, the number of self-employed pension contributors is said to have more than doubled within a year in an attempt to prepare for life after active work. The Director General of Senate, Dr. John Ofori-Tinkwang, attributed the increase to education, but admitted that there are more grounds to cover.
When people hear the message, they say, I want to join, and I wanted to join yesterday, I want to join today. The only issue that we have is that most of the people who see the value and want to join, they are above the age of 45. And the law as we have it now preclude them from joining. So people do want to join. It's just that they have not heard the message. It's just that they thought that SNIT was only for government workers. That is how bad it is. People thought it was for government workers, not even including those who work in private companies. So the notion that SNIT is for government workers is not true, and the data doesn't support it. The only thing is that we need to grow the self-employed sector, which now stands at about 54,000, which was only 14,000 a year ago, to cover 1 million, 2 million people.
He further called on the informal workers to see the call to contribute to the scheme as a personal drive to reduce old age poverty.
Pension is a personal thing, especially for those who are self-employed. You cannot rely on your employer because you are not working for some company to pay for you. It is you are paying for your own benefits. Each one of us that is hearing me today, each one teach one. There is a lot of misinformation out there, so that they too can voluntarily take the steps to take control of their own future, so that 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, old age poverty will be severely reduced in this country.
Some pensioners in Sunyani had this to say.
My mates who have not gone this way, when they see me, they find me different. One of them tells me that even the whole Ghana is made for us because we are paid monthly. Then when you go on pension, you receive your something also in your pocket monthly. To them, nothing at all. So if they hear this type of information given this morning to us, it will be something so good for them. They will have wished that something like this has happened, for them to have contributed to make their life or their living a little bit comfortable.
The forum was on the theme Sign Up for Self-Employed Enrollment Drive Seed from Senate, Ayaudachi, Fano Personal, Precious Semevo Joy Business, Sunyai.
Now, as part of efforts to promote inclusive insurance, the National Insurance Commission has indicated its intention to roll out aggressive efforts to rake in the informal sector into the insurance basket. According to Acting Commissioner Michael Andor, the Commission is poised to change the negative perception associated with insurance and make it more attractive to the informal economy using micro-insurance products. He spoke to Joy Business at a press soiree to announce the International Conference on Inclusive Insurance to be hosted in Ghana by the National Insurance Commission and its associated bodies.
The 10th International Conference on Inclusive Insurance will be held in Ghana from the 23rd to 27th October 2023. Experts from over 50 countries will converge in Ghana to discuss and identify ways of accelerating growth and economic viability in inclusive insurance for emerging markets. Acting Commissioner of the National Insurance Commission, Michael Andor, explains the need to improve insurance coverage to rake in the informal economy.
Insurance as designed is mainly suits the white and blue collar employees. They usually would have a salary and they'll have a bank account, and at the end of the month they are paid, their money goes into the bank account, insurance company will make their deduction. But you know, the majority of our people are in the informal sector. Majority. The formal employees are very few. Most of our people are farmers, they are petty traders, they are carpenters, they are masons, they are fishermen. Most of our people, that's what they do. So the name inclusive means opening access to everybody. You know, the thing about having a formal job and having a bank account raises barriers for people. And since majority of our people don't live their life that way, they don't have access to insurance. So inclusive insurance means opening access to everybody.
He spoke on the importance of the conference to the Ghanaian insurance sector.
We need to educate. When you say we have work, we really have work to do. We, on both the demand and the supply side, we have work to do. And this conference we have been doing it for some time, but I think this conference will give us a boost and help us to have access to resources, resource persons, experts, experience, data, discussions, a lot that we can gain from there.
The conference will be hosted by the National Insurance Commission, the Ghana Insurance Association, and the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana, in cooperation with Munich Re Foundation and the Micro Insurance Network.
Well, they say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and when there is money to be made whilst engaging in what many used to consider mere fun, you can trust that show business segment to uncover all the details for you. From public gaming centers to personal consoles, Ghana has witnessed a growing interest in commodities related to video gaming. Now, this trend has started to gain popularity among the youth, but what is the true value of this activity in Ghana's creative space? Here to provide some perspective on our show business segment, our culture journalist at myjoyonline.com, Kenneth Awotedako. Good afternoon to you. Great to see you. It's been a while. So
yeah, it has.
We have a lot to talk about. First off, how essential really is this market to the country?
So you have to look at it from this perspective, right? So the Ghana, Statistical Service has, indicated that about 32% of the country's youth are unemployed. Mm-hmm. So it means all of these hands have nothing doing. And usually where they find solace is some of these social activities. For instance, gaming is a very crucial, aspect of their lives when it comes to the youth in Ghana. So instead of going out there to maybe engage or use the energy that they have for some social vices, they'd rather stay at home behind their devices and enjoy some lone time to use to maybe, if there's a reason why they're not getting a job or whatever, at least they have some solace knowing that they can be at home and have a good time without, engaging in any other, activity as well. So it basically bridges a sort of social gap in the system as well, while also sharpening their brains when it comes to the tools that these games provide.
Yeah, but they're also making money off it sometimes, don't they? Anyway, so how do these translate into the global scheme of things?
So last year, right, there was about $340 billion made from the gaming industry alone. So if you look at these numbers and the fact that there are people here in Ghana who are doing, basically engaging in this kind of activity, there's a lot of money to be made in there while having fun as well. So there is that angle as well. So when you bring those numbers to the Ghanaian perspective as well, that research basically talks about the fact that the revenue in the video gaming market is projected to reach 121 million this year itself. And so if you...
This is the global figure?
Yeah, no, this is the Ghana figure.
Ghana figure?
Yes.
So that's some money.
You understand? Yes. So there's a lot of potential in there if the right, resources are channeled into improving that particular space.
So what are the challenges?
So I can just list a few of them. Basically, from the jump, there is stigma. For those of us who grew up in, Ghanaian setting and schools,
Whatever that means.
Yeah, so for me, for instance, growing up, there was a lot of my colleagues who would maybe, if there is little time off school, they can maybe go to video gaming centers and their parents would enter there, and then call them out, for instance, that they are not maybe...
a bad boy.
Yeah, you're a bad boy and all of that. So that is a stigma that the parents have towards gaming, basically. And so anyone who does any activity in that regard is considered to be, sort of a truant. But that's not what the case is. If you really tailor, your child's activity towards a very sane way of controlling this particular, space in their lives, they will be able to make some money off of it. So there is the stigma aspect. It's also underfunded as well because, of course, there are bigger fish to fry that policymakers will tell you that there are bigger fish to fry when it comes to improving the sports space, because it's also a sport as well, mind you. And also there's also the lack of, internet access, which is one very big issue when it comes to gaming, because you have to upgrade some of your logistics as, the development goes up ahead, year in, year out. So these are a few of the challenges that...
So what can we do to maximize the potential of the industry?
So there is a few of these things. So in terms of the stigma, if more awareness is created, a lot of people in leadership positions and, parental roles would find very convenient ways to guide their children in that aspect, because it's not always about it doesn't mean you're a truant, but it's also a means of sharpening your brain and making some money as well. There's also the need to expand internet access, because if it's expanded, there's more information out there. While the world grows into more or better means of, experiencing the gaming terrain here in Ghana, people who are interested in that also can also get access to those facilities through the internet as well. And also, so basically the development also of games that basically fit the African context, because there have been issues about the fact that some of these games and some of these features are not contextualized when it comes to the African space. So these spaces can be used to create tailored, activities that will solve problems that are specific to the continent as well.
Are you spending a weekend video gaming?
Yeah, we could have a one-on-one, so yeah, it's possible.
it's not going to work with me. I'm not too good at it, but thank you so much, Kenneth Auchidako, culture journalist by joyonline.com, always bringing us some perspective from the show, from show business every Friday. I appreciate your time. And that's our program. Before we go, you know that the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair is coming up. So prepare for an exhilarating experience at the main and grand fair of the 2023 EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair. Join us at the Accra International Conference Center from Thursday, November 23 to Sunday, November 26. Doors will be open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day to welcome you. This year, we are diving into the theme of home ownership, exploring the nuances between affordability, comfort, and luxury. Whether you're embarking on your home ownership journey or looking for upgrades, this fair is your destination for all things housing. Encounter a comprehensive assembly of stakeholders from Ghana's housing and construction sectors. Engage with the experts from across the spectrum of home creation and enhancement, ready to guide you through an array of options, from securing the ideal financing solution to choosing the perfect plot of land, from exploring rent-to-own options to purchasing your own dream home outright. It begins here. But that's not all. Discover the latest in roofing materials, immerse yourself in the world of sophisticated lighting, and encounter state-of-the-art electronic appliances. Dive deep into home security innovations and browse through an exquisite selection of home furnishings. The 2023 EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair is more than an exhibition. It's a gateway to your dream home. Don't miss this chance to make informed decisions about every aspect of your living space. We are bringing everything housing under one roof just for you. And so this plenty talking is so that we'll see you there. The EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats, rent to own, and sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, Planned City Extension Project, Cities and Habitats, Elegant Homes, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. Gold Key Properties, building prestige since 1997. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Virtual Security, complete security solution. DBS, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design. St. Gobain, making the world a better place, a better plan. Rather, Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investment, and Kensington Heights, Airport City Kumasi by 8 HDG Homes Limited. And so you've got to be there for the EcoBank Journeys Habitat Fair, and that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone.